Hi everybody, Anthony Navarro, Colorado Shooting Sports. We're going to be doing a really controversial video, most likely, on how to defeat different types of body armor. So sit back and enjoy, let the craziness ensue, but I think this is something that you probably are going to need to know in the coming years. So I'm going to just kind of position the camera to get you guys the best view. We're going to be talking a little bit of anatomy, physiology. You're going to get all sorts of nerdy on you. Gonna get all sorts of nerdy. There we go. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. All right. So here we go. We're gonna be talking about this. So let's talk about the topic again is defeating body armor. And defeating body armor. This is number one. Let's just get right into the political rigmarole that's gonna happen. Because people are going to flip out. They're like, but police wear armor. Yeah, so do bad guys. Everybody, you can buy it anywhere. Heck, you can make it. So if they even try to ban it, you can still make it. And I'll talk about the different materials that it's made out of as well. First off, I kind of drew what we're trying to protect. So we're not talking about a helmet. We're not going to talk about arms and legs. We're talking about the upper thoracic area. And what I mean by that, when I use that medical term, is anything that your ribs are covering. So kind of in this fashion here, the body considers very important. We're talking like you could die within minutes. So I'll just kind of get right to it as well here. Anything in the lower abdominal area, depending on where you're hit, you can live for up to 2 weeks. So stabbing, shot, evisceration, you can live for quite a long time. So we're gonna kind of talk about primarily what this armor plate is going to be covering, which is the heart, the lungs, and the upper part of the spinal cord. So we're going to be focusing on upper thoracic or chest protection, not abdominal protection. And that's what it's meant to do. So let's get into the destructive mechanisms. How are human beings damaged or killed? Number one, penetration. Something blows right through the heart or the lung, it makes a hole, and then things happen from there. So things like blood squirting out is a bad thing. The air coming in, meaning air from the outside into the thoracic area, can cause a tension pneumothorax, which causes the lung to collapse on itself. Another thing is shock or energy. So that could be a destructive mechanism as well. So something smashes into this so hard, like for example, the liver is a very hard organ, and if you can get hit hard enough, it'll actually break in half. I'm using the word break because that's kind of what it looks like. So yeah, the cardiac muscle is twice as dense as skeletal muscle, like on your quad. So if you get hit hard enough in the heart, it could actually break it or tear it pretty aggressively. So again, different ways human beings are killed or damaged is from penetration, shock or energy, and then the ensuing things that happen, which is organ damage, bleeding, squirting out, or the airway being compromised. So let's then talk about the different types of body armor. There's soft body armor, hard body armor, and the hard body armor breaks into different types as well. So let's just focus on soft armor. We've all heard the brand names like Kevlar and Spectra, and basically what that's doing is, if you can imagine that my fingers are fibers in that Kevlar, when a bullet hits it, the fibers take that energy and they spread it laterally. Boom, so the bullet's hit and it kind of does this, okay? Soft armor is primarily meant for pistol rounds. We're talking like 22s up to like 44 mag and 10 millimeter, all that kind of stuff. But keep in mind, velocity is always going to be a factor. So that's why the faster the pistol bullet goes, the more easily it penetrates that soft armor, okay? So again, soft armor, one of its advantages is it's malleable. It kind of folds to your body, kind of conforms to it, so you don't look as bulky when you're walking around. So it's a little bit more convenient. It's going to be lighter and more comfortable to wear. One of the things to keep in mind with soft armor is anything that's really, really sharp or going really, really fast will penetrate that. So a lot of people don't realize this, but something as simple as a knife wham, will go right through soft body armor. So that's one way right there on how to defeat soft armor, a knife, or it's going really fast. So next we're going to get into hard armor, and that breaks into three different types. We're talking things like polymer, ceramic, and steel. Okay. Now, one of the things I'll mention here too, and there's like millions of videos, so I'm not going to bore you guys with it. You can look it up. Is the armor levels. We're talking like 2, 2A, 3, 4, kind of keeps going. The higher the number, the more, the larger or faster the round that it can take. So for example, like level 4 armor can easily stop 5.56, whereas level 2A is going to just boom, burn right through that thing, okay? So I'll let you guys take a look at the armor levels on your own, but we're going to be talking about materials. So one of the types of armor that became very popular about 6 or 7 years ago, and it's still out there now, is polymer armor. Yes, armor made out of plastic, different types of aramid fibers all wound together. Now, it's some advantages. It's going to be lighter. The drawback is, though, that the lighter the armor, it's going to be significantly thicker. So it's going to be pretty thick armor that you're wearing on your body. Another thing that they didn't find out till a little while later is that when people would take this armor off at the end of the day and they'd throw it in the trunk of their car and it's really hot, the heat would degrade the armor and in a lot of cases actually warp it. So it's not a end all be all awesome because it's lighter, it has its issues, okay? As a matter of fact, all of these types of armor have their issues. The next one we're going to talk about is steel armor, which tends to be really popular because it's inexpensive. It's also going to be one of the thinner armors out there. So polymer is going to be like that. Steel armor is going to be like that, significantly thinner. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be heavy. So that's another issue right there. Another thing is that you're going to get things like spall. So for example, you get a lead bullet hitting that steel armor, and when the bullet hits, all these chunks of brass and lead spray in different areas. So you can imagine your head's up here, a bullet hits you here, you're going to get chunks of metal ripping up into your throat and jawline, potentially into the armpits as well. So again, nothing is without its drawbacks. So steel's going to be heavier, but it's going to be thinner, and it's got issues with spall. You can spray them with this rubberized like rhino liner stuff to mitigate that to some degree, but really not all that much. Next we get to ceramic, which is depending on how long ago you encountered this. So the older stuff was like could take one hit, and the idea was the bullet would hit this ceramic armor and it would shatter, and it would take that energy, spread it laterally, and then that was it. If you got a round anywhere in that vicinity, it was probably going to punch through and take chunks of ceramic armor with it into your body cavity. Now there's a lot of ceramic that is multi-hit capable, and I would even say this about steel armor. If you're talking about pistol rounds, it's definitely multi-hit capable. We have steel plates we've been shooting for years that don't even have any issues at all. So, but if you're looking at ceramic armor, I would be looking at the multi-hit capable stuff. It's going to be a little bit better. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. So again, the couple of things that degrade armor is the age of it, depending on the material. Like steel, probably not so much, but the polymer and the ceramic armor and the soft armors can be degraded with time. There's lots of reports of former East German soft armor that was imported 10, 20 years ago, and bullets were zipping right through. I think there's quite a few videos out there of people shooting with pistol rounds and the rounds going right on through. So I would consider armor something you need to upgrade or change out probably every 5 years. Again, that's just a personal opinion. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about here is cavitation. So if we take a look here, I'm going to angle this down. Hopefully, possibly. Yeah, there we go. Here we have a side view of a plate like steel or, you know, polymer, ceramic, whatever the case might be. When you get hit by something, we're going really fast, the energy causes it to deform, and that cavitation, they call it, the energy is still going through. So for example, if your armor warps by that much or dents that much, keep in mind that that dent is not happening slowly. It's happening at an extreme high velocity, and that shock is being transferred to your body very painfully. I'll even say this, if you shoot soft armor with a 12-gauge slug, it's probably not gonna go through, but it's gonna cause so much cavitation that if your spine is right here, your heart is right here, it's gonna crush your heart against your spine, and it's probably gonna kill you anyway, okay? Now, steel plates also can cavitate quite a bit. I've seen that. Ceramic, they tend to crumble and cavitate as well. So again, something to be aware of. That's one of the reasons why I like to wear soft armor underneath the hard plate to deal with some of that cavitation, to deal with some of that small spall, and also fragmentation. So that's just something that I personally do. Adds a little bit of bulk, a little bit of weight, but I find it to be effective. Now, one of the things we'll talk about now is how to defeat it, because this is pretty hard thing to defeat. So I like to look at it this way. I'm not going to defeat the armor. I'm going to work my way around it, okay? So think about how much energy and time and focus you need to spend on punching through something when you should just probably shoot them in the arm. So imagine this person is turned sideways. If you shoot him in the arm, there's no armor underneath this area. As a matter of fact, if we kind of continue drawing it, there's another plate in the back, but there's this entire area here that is very vulnerable, and you can get right to the good stuff, and there's no armor there, okay? So that's something to keep in mind too. When you look at people, just kind of Google body armor and look at people wearing it in actual duty or overseas in a war. And what you'll notice is as time goes on, these plate carriers, which is this blue thing is the plate carrier, and then the actual plate that sits inside it, you'll notice that if they're not wearing it correctly, if they haven't been fitted for this correctly, or if it just starts to sag and wear out, the carrier I mean, then this plate will ride lower. And so I would recommend shooting them in the upper part of the carrier where there's no plate, and you're gonna be running into the upper part of the lungs, the bronchial tubes, the spinal cord. So that is definitely an option. Another thing to keep in mind too is that this plate doesn't really go down that far. So when it's on the body, it's gonna be kind of stopping somewhere around the belly button area, depending on if it's a 12x8 or whatever the size might be. But again, shooting underneath that plate or the bottom edge of the plate carrier, you're gonna be, again, he can live for 2 weeks, but it's gonna be one of those things where as he bends over or falls over, you'll have other angles. So remember, in life, life doesn't go in a straight line. Sometimes when you're handed something poor, you can make it better. The dude falls over, either facing you or away from you, and suddenly your angles are a lot better. As we kind of look further down the body, so let's make a little stick person here. Some legs, comes up here. Here are his hands, his head. Here's the plate. So let's kind of reiterate some of these areas, because I'm very much practicing an asymmetrical warfare concept with this armor, because if I can't defeat it, then I'm going to work my way around it. So again, obviously a headshot's really good, pow pow. Neck shot or the upper part of the plate. The arms, especially if you have a side view, that works really good underneath the plate. In the upper part of the inner aspect of the leg, you have the femoral artery. That is a really good target, guys. Really good target. Now let's kind of just draw this side view again of this person. Now again, we see this. Let's kind of draw the plate on there in black so you guys can kind of see what's going on. So we have a plate in the front, a plate in the back. Maybe he's even got some sappy plates on the side. But you can't armor the under part of the armpit because you got to be able to move. So here's his arm. That's why I keep telling you guys that that's a really good shot right there. Shooting in the arm, the bone and the muscle and all that stuff is not going to be as resistant to bullets as the plate is. So that's going to be a primary area where you're going to want to be shooting. So again, the whole purpose of this video, I guess if I can sum it up for you guys, is asymmetrical warfare. Is we're going to be not fighting it directly, we're going to be working our way around it. So if armor presents itself, headshots are extremely effective and very, very fast. If not, we're going to be looking for that next shot underneath the armpit, the abdominal area, and the upper aspect of the quadricep. Again, hard stuff to talk about because, again, we always tend to think of police officers wearing it, but again, bad guys wear it. You can make it, so you can ban it all you want, but it's still going to be out there. And also, there might be a day when the good guys become the bad guys. So if you have the jackbooted thug showing up at your house trying to take your guns, guess what they're going to be wearing? So something to think about when you're dealing with this. Also, try not to get target focused on one bad guy. Deal with one and then move on to the next targets because they're probably coming in bunches. And so be ready to go with that. Again, controversial topic, something to think about. And let's see if I can get you guys some zoom ins on this stuff real quick. So again, we're going to give us a chance to kind of review as well. So here we got the plate carrier, the plate itself. We're talking about some asymmetrical attack angles here. Here's a plate from the side view. We're talking about cavitation and energy transfer. Here we are talking about the vital organs, the heart, the spinal cord, and the lungs. The less vital organs here in the abdominal area. Front view and side view of primary areas where you might want to be looking at putting those rounds. So here we go. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.